Hello and welcome back to Mobility Monday. And today we are doing mobility for triathletes. Now, I should probably say almost all of these videos have been or are mobility for triathletes, but this is particularly focusing on some of the key areas that as triathletes we want to focus on. So we're going to start off with your couch stretch. So you want a cushion on the floor, and then you want your foot hooked up onto a chair, a sofa, a bed, something behind you. And you're going to put one foot on the floor, other knee on the floor. And then we're tucking the tailbone under, like I so often talk about. Imagine you've got a bowl of water in your pelvis. You're drawing up at the front. You're trying to tip the water out the back. Now, in this position, you probably won't be tipping the water out the back. The water is probably tipping out the front, but you're trying to tip out the front a little bit less. So we're drawing up at the front, tipping the water out the back. We're loosening up our quads, our thigh muscles down the front here. If it feels too aggressive, take the knee a bit further forwards, away from you. If you can't feel much of a stretch, bring the knee closer into the couch or whatever behind you. We're going to go in for some holds. So we're going to tuck under and hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just release. Tuck under 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Tuck under 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Last one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, if you lean forward and you match your knees at the front, then you can compare one side with the other. Make sure your knees are in the same position, and then you come up into that same starting position. And that just lets you compare one side to the other to know if one side's tighter than the other. So again, we're drawing up at the front, trying to tip the water out the back, but probably not, probably still tipping the water out the front, but just a bit less. Making it really active, that tucking under, to get that deep stretch into your thigh muscle. Now, you might say, but this is stretching, not mobility. Yes, I'd agree with you. We're going to have a little bit of stretching in this session. It's mostly mobility. Mobility is about mobilizing a joint. Stretching is about stretching a muscle. This is definitely about stretching that thigh muscle, but it's allowing us, therefore, to get that mobility into the hip joint that we're going to go into next. So again, tuck under, hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release, tuck under, hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release, tuck under. You can start to squeeze the bum just a little bit, almost pushing the hips, not really forwards, but just squeezing the bum so you're getting a greater stretch across the front of the hips as well. 2, 1. Release, tuck under, gentle push forward, squeeze the bum. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lovely. From there, we're going to go into some hip mobility work. And we often find if we try and go into our hips, but we haven't released those thighs, then we struggle to get into our hips. And as triathletes, we're doing lots and lots of work on this anterior chain. We're running, we're cycling, we're using those thigh muscles. So we want to release the thigh muscles first so we can get into the hips. So from here, we're going to do exactly the same action, but we've got the foot on the ground behind us now, tucking the tailbone under, tipping the water out the back and holding there. So this is probably, and I know I say this every week, but this is probably the most important exercise to do unless you've got a particular injury or vulnerability that means you need to be working somewhere else. But if we're tight in the hips here, we end up not being able to engage our glutes. And when we don't engage our glutes, that's making everything else work harder. Often we have calf injuries because we're not engaging our glutes well enough. Often we'll have, all sorts of injuries because we're not engaging those glutes. Knee injuries are often coming because we haven't got the glutes engaging from above to support that knee joint. So we want to make sure we've loosened up the hips so we can engage the glutes behind, so we can get that full range of motion. So when we're running, particularly, the leg can extend out behind us. Lovely. Let's swap onto the other side, exactly the same. Tip the water out the back. And we should be able to get to tipping the water out the back here. Let's try that again, that 5-second count. It just means we hold ourselves to account so we get more out of it rather than kind of thinking we're doing it and half forgetting that we're doing it while we're doing it. So release, tuck under, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release, tuck under, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release, tuck under, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lovely. Going back to the first knee now. And we're going to, I've just ended up on the same knee, but anyway, it doesn't matter. We're going to go into pushing the hips backwards. So we're getting a gentle stretch into our hamstrings. Again, this is more of a stretch, but if those hamstrings are tight, you're struggling to engage everything else. So pushing the hamstrings, pushing the hips back to get into the hamstrings, but then keeping the foot where it is, pushing the knee forwards towards our little toes. Now, this is mobilizing this ankle joint, which can get really locked up from our running, which then means when we're swimming, we haven't got the flexibility at the ankles. Means we get our calves are too tight when we're running. So we really want to make sure we're working on this ankle mobility. So come back and then push forward, using your hand or your elbow to push the knee forward. Aim the knee towards the little toes. Push as far forwards as you can, making sure the heel is staying on the ground. Aiming towards the little toes. Come back once more, hands down towards the toes as you push the hips back. Pushing the knee forwards. If you're not feeling much here, imagine you've got a grape underneath the arch of your foot, and as you push the knee forwards, don't squash the grape. So that's making that foot a little bit more active. You get a deeper stretch in there, working through that ankle mobility. Swap onto the other side. Exactly the same on the other side. So hips come backwards, reach towards the toes, then pushing the knee forwards, knee towards the little toes. Make sure the foot's facing forwards as well. Our way of cheating is to turn the toes out. So we push the knee forwards, but actually we're aiming towards the instep because we turn the toes out. So make sure that foot is facing forwards and push forwards. Come back, hands towards the toes. Going again. And again, we're just coming in and out of this ankle mobility so that we really hold ourselves to account. If we just hold it, we end up kind of getting distracted and not really working on it so much. So better to come in and out. And we want to keep it moving. So we're doing mobility work. We're not just holding it as a static stretch, but working on loosening up that joint. Lovely. From there, if you have a foam roller, you don't have to, but if you have a foam roller, you're going to use it now. We're going to kneel next to the wall. Now, if you don't have a wall either, you can do this without a wall. I'll show you the ideal setup, but you can absolutely replicate this without a wall. So I'm kneeling on the knee closest to the wall. I've got the other foot out in front of me, and I'm just going to use the foam roller. So it's coming down between my knee and the wall to make sure that my knee stays where it is. I'm then going to take my hands out in front of me, arm closest to the wall, resting on the wall. And I'm going to take the other hand out behind me, and I'm trying to turn towards the wall behind me. Now, obviously, if you don't have a wall, you can absolutely do this. It's just that the wall helps to keep you to account. So this hand doesn't start to follow. And this roller here is to make sure the knee doesn't start to follow. But if you haven't got a wall or a roller, you can do exactly the same. Set yourself up, but just make sure that your hips are still facing forward. So we're working on your thoracic mobility, your mid-back mobility. So if you imagine that your belly button stays facing forwards to the wall in front of you, while your ribs turn relative to the belly button. So we're working this mid-back mobility. Really important for everything in our triathlon. Really important for our running. As we run, we want that mobility so that we can rotate, so that we kind of have this sling system coming back, pulling the shoulder back, and then we release it. So we want that mobility as we run. We want it as we cycle, particularly as we're looking over our shoulder to see if it's safe to pull out or whatever. Yes, that's through our neck, but we want that mobility through the mid back. And we want it in our swim. We want that rotation in our swim. Lovely. Let's swap to the other side. So foot furthest away from the wall on the ground, knee closest to the wall on the floor. Using the foam roller if you've got one, or anything else that's just going to help you keep that knee facing forwards. Arms out, take the hand back behind you, or one tight on this side. So we're trying to get that hand to the wall. If you're tight in the shoulder and you're feeling it more in the shoulder, we're about to go into your shoulders in a second. But if the shoulder's what's stopping you, don't worry. We can just think sort of pulling a, what's that, bow and arrow, like that. So it's not about whether the hand can get there. That's just a way of checking whether we've got that full rotation all the way around. Released. Let's go for that pulling your boba. Last time. Go again. Lovely. And then we're going to do a little bit of shoulder and chest mobility on the floor. So lying on the floor, and you want a bit of space around you on the floor, around sort of around your top end. So I'm lying on the floor and I've got my arms. Let me just tilt you down a tiny bit. So I'm lying on the floor, knees out in front of me, and I'm going to use my bottom hand to check that my knees stay stacked. While I do my chest mobility, I don't want that top knee to slide backwards. So I'm using my hand to check that my knees stay stacked. You can put something underneath your head if you want to. Reach out the top hand up to the ceiling and down to the floor behind you. And we're trying, and I'm failing, but we're trying to get this top hand down to the ground behind us, but without rolling that top knee back. So make sure the knees stay stacked, which means your hips are facing forward, your belly button's facing forward. And we're just trying to release this chest. So we end up very tight through our chest here, particularly lots of cycling, arms forwards, swimming, working through those pec muscles, but also just life. We spend so much time with our arms out in front of us, on the computer, on the phone, driving, whatever. And we want to have this full range to be able to get the arm to come back behind us. So just using gravity to let the hand drop down. Use your breath as well. So focus on nice long breath out. As you breathe out, feeling that hand start to drop down. If you're already down to the ground, brilliant. You can just enjoy the fact that you've got better mobility than me, or better extension through that chest, and just focus on some nice relaxed breaths. Nearly down. Last one. You're not trying to force it. You're just using your breath to relax. Let gravity help you down. Okay, coming back to the front. Now, you on this next exercise, your legs absolutely can slide. So you're going to take both arms out in front of you. Then you're going to take the top hand, trying but not forcing it, trying to keep the hand down to the ground with a straight arm. Take the hand up above the head. So rolling your fingers along the ground, up above your head. Roll onto your back. You absolutely do want your top leg to slide now. Let the hand come onto the ground behind you, and you're trying to keep that circle all the way through. A bit too close to the edge there. Circle all the way through, brush your thigh, back to the front, and we're going again. So you're keeping those circles going the whole way. Now, if you find that you're particularly tight here behind the head, stop for a few breaths here. Nice, long, slow breaths out as you breathe out, trying to relax wherever that tightness is. And then you finish your circle. If you're getting any clicking, any crunching, any discomfort, as always, we're not trying to force ourselves into anything. We're just trying to gently work with our body to release. So don't force it. Just work to the range of motion that you can. Your end goal is straight arm, hands down to the ground all the way through, but don't force it. Lovely. Let's roll on to the other side. We're going to do the same on the other side. So first of all, using your bottom hand on the top knee, or in front of the knees to make sure the top knee doesn't slide back. Top hand out in front of you, up to the ceiling, down to the ground behind you. Keeping facing forwards, keeping the hips facing forwards, belly button facing forwards, trying to get that hand end to the ground. You can have a quick look and see how far away from the ground it is. But otherwise, keeping everything facing forwards. And again, using your breath, long, slow breath out. As you breathe out, letting gravity do the work to let the hand drop down. Hands back to the front, and then we're going back into the shoulder. So remember, your leg can slide on this one. Hand goes up above the head, down to the floor, round behind you. If you can do that straight arm, hands to the ground all the way, brilliant. If you're not there yet, then don't worry. Maybe you'll get there by the end. If not, keep doing it and you'll definitely get there. So breathing out, particularly as you get to that tight bit. If you want to hold it for a few breaths here, breathing out, breathing into the tightness. Following the circle through. Last circle and check in. Have you managed to get a little bit more mobility, or is it feeling a little bit easier as you work through those circles? Lovely. And then our last one is our thoracic extension. So our extension through our mid back, particularly cyclists, we spend a lot of time bent forwards. And so we want to get that back to be able to open up back. Now we're going to use our foam roller ideally for this, but if you haven't got a foam roller or it doesn't work for you, then I'll show you another one that you can do. So hands onto something. I've just got a box here, but it could be a chair, a table, and you're dropping your hands down. So you're opening up that back. So you're trying to kind of bend your back opposite to the way that we spend so much time like that. So I've got my hands above me, could be on the wall as well, dropping down, opening up through that back. Or you can do it with your elbows there, dropping down. Same thing, trying to bend the back that way, the other way. Not the lower back, but working through the sort of tight bit in the mid back here. And you get a nice tricep stretch as you do that as well. But the way that I prefer to do it, the way that gets in there, I think, a lot more effectively is with your foam roller. So as I say, if you haven't got a foam roller or you don't like using the foam roller, you can carry on doing the one I just showed you. But otherwise, we're going to lie on the foam roller, and we've got the foam roller just at the base of the rib cage. Cross your hands over onto your shoulders and do like a little sit up. I'm not a fan of sit ups at all, but like a little sit up to make sure you're engaging your core. From there, and go cautiously, work with what feels right for you. You're going to bend backwards over the foam roller, but you're going to keep the core engaged. So it's not about you loosening up through the rib cage. You want to keep, if you measure now how far away your rib cage is from your hip bones, so how many fingers can you get in between there? And as you come backwards, you don't want to have those fingers separating. I put your hands here just to support yourself, but that idea of making sure your rib cage doesn't flare out, that you're not just loosening up through the rib cage. So keep the core engaged as you drop backwards, holding it here for a few breaths. Come back up, scoot your bum down. So now the roller is at the top of the rib cage. Again, do that little sit up to get the core engaged. Again, you can check how many fingers you've got between the bottom of the rib cage and the top of the hips. Bending backwards over the roller and try and make sure that you can't get more fingers in there. So you're not just loosening up through there. Keep the rib cage down. Don't let the rib cage flare. If you want to, and it's very much up to you, you can try taking the hands above your head, just giving you a bit more work, gravity helping open up there. Coming back up and final time. So now scooching down again. So the foam roller is just at the top of the shoulder blades. Again, do that sit up and then opening up backwards. And again, up to you whether you've got your hands crossed, hands keeping the rib cage closed, or hands above your head. So this is a lovely one to do if you feel that you've just been spent so much time bent forwards. It could, again, not be anything to do with cycling, could be to do with hunched over your books, hunched over your laptop, whatever. It's a lovely one for opening the back up. And there we are done. So there's obviously a million other exercises we could do, but those are some of the ones that are really going to target the areas where you're getting tightest, where you're going to be potentially lacking that mobility and where you need that mobility as a triathlete. I hope you found that helpful. If you want more of these sort of videos, then make sure you hit to subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you next Monday.